Hello, everyone, and welcome to the June 17th edition of Rant-Om Thoughts. Cancel culture. It's been getting out of hand. Even before the George Floyd murder, even before the riots, it's just been getting way out of hand. Gone with the Wind being pulled from HBO Max's lineup. Not exactly, not exactly government censorship. I mean, you can still go to other places to find it if you want to watch it, but still being pulled because it's quote-unquote problematic. You know, one of the great cinematic classics of all time. First Black Oscar winner ever. Was a supporting actress in that film. Then there's people who are trying to get Paw Patrol shut down. Paw Patrol. A children's cartoon about talking dogs dressed as first responders. Particularly, they're going after a character named Chase, a talking German Shepherd dressed as a police officer for some reason that makes sense only to those who have launched this crusade. They've decided that a talking police dog is somehow problematic and wrong. And now they're going after Hawaiian shirts. Now, a bit of an aside to explain the whole thing. There's a movement, not really so much a movement, but kind of a trend or a fad called the Boogaloo Movement. It grew out of the anti-gun legislation in Virginia last year, and the protests and Second Amendment rallies that sprung as a reaction to it. And the word Boogaloo is short for Civil War II electric boogaloo. They're basically kids who act out their fantasies of fighting out, Civil War II electric boogaloo with airsoft and paintball in the woods. And when they're not doing that, they're on social media sharing silly memes. So it's not really as dangerous as its detractors try to paint it out to be. I mean, they're not serious, and if they were, it would be the biggest dumb crook story in the annals of American crime, because they broadcast their punches so much. And the Boogaloo is also known as the Big Igloo, which a picture of a giant igloo features prominently in their symbolism, and the big luau, hence their affinity for Hawaiian shirts, and they'll wear Hawaiian shirts with their tactical gear. Their politics are actually a few light years to my right. It runs from hardcore libertarian to anarchist. Most of them have a nihilistic, black-pilled view towards voting and civic involvement, though there are some who are voters and are involved in politics to some degree. Duncan Lemp, you've heard me mention him on here before, was part of the Boogaloo set. And he was a supporter of John McAfee in his bid for the Libertarian Party presidential nomination for 2020. And as you may recall, Duncan Lemp was killed by a SWAT team serving an unconstitutional red flag ERPO warrant while he was asleep in bed and his pregnant girlfriend was laying next to him. So, of course, there are many in the Boogaloo set because of that, and understandably so, who are opposed to police brutality, because one of theirs was a victim of police brutality. It should be noted that the Boogaloo Movement is not a white supremacist group. Visit their pages, their social media forums on Facebook, their groups, their pages, and see for yourself. They are very emphatically anti-racist, and whenever a genuine dyed-in-the-wool white national socialist tries to troll them, that person gets roasted mercilessly. So they're not white supremacists, and many of them in their naivete have joined the George Floyd protests, thinking that they will find allies against the police state in the Black Lives Matter movement and the broader American left. The leadership of BLM and the broader American left, of course, reject the Boogaloo and has smeared them as racists because they have it in their minds that anyone to the right of the Clintons are white supremacists. And that's their reaction to just about anything that is politically right of center. Is they'll just smear it as racist or white supremacist because they're just simply too lazy to debate people philosophically or on policy. That's just the way they work. And because the Boogaloo in their minds are white supremacists, so too are Hawaiian shirts. Now, I've been wearing Hawaiian shirts before literally everybody in the entire Boogaloo movement was born. Whenever I wear a Hawaiian shirt, it's not to make a political statement, like I would say if I was wearing my taxation is theft shirt, or my Free Assange shirt, or one of my Second Amendment shirts, or Who is John Galt. any statement that I would make wearing a Hawaiian shirt, it would be to show that there is a fun-loving, easygoing, freewheeling side to my personality. That wherever I am at wearing this, it's to have a good time, to relax, to hang loose. But there's another side to my personality. I am a reflexive contrarian. Some people think that it's the best part of me. That's how I have the strength of my convictions, how I'm able to just stand where I'm at and not change, no matter how popular or unfashionable my views become. And there are some who say that this is why there are some people who have just a very hard time getting along with me. Now, the latter camp, all I have to say is if you find that part of me hard to cope with, then really the best thing to do is just let me be me. This is baked into me. It's who and what I am. There's no changing it. The schools, they tried to drug and discipline it out of me. They failed. My classmates tried to bully it out of me. They failed. My father tried to knock it out of me when I was a kid. That didn't take either. So I am not going to change that part of me. I don't like being told what I can or cannot watch, what I can or cannot read, what I can or cannot say out loud, what I can or cannot think, what I can or cannot wear by self-appointed arbiters of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Now that I have people telling me that I can't wear Hawaiian shirts because it's now problematic, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to wait till I have a little bit extra money and I'm going to buy me some more Hawaiian shirts. The brighter, the louder, the better. Just as a big F you to all you pansies out there who get easily offended by everything. And because I am a reflexive contrarian, I'm going to get a special collector's edition DVD of Gone with the Wind and place it on my shelf in a place of pride right next to my special collector's edition of Gods and Generals. Why? Because some scrawny, effeminate, man bun wearing, granny glasses wearing soy boy whose favorite sexual position looks something like this says I can't. Fiddle-dee-dee and up yours. In other news, there are things going on internally in the company that I work for and externally throughout the entire private security industry, that's suggesting to me that in light of the riots, in light of the calls to either defund or outright abolish municipal police departments, and in light of police officers en masse just quitting their jobs, that there is machinery in motion going the direction of private security, filling the gap left behind by shrinking and vanishing law enforcement to take over patrol duties and become a privatized police force, physically protecting commercial zones, industrial zones, and residential zones. In preparation of how that might affect me personally, I am going to continue taking my online training modules. Once the facility opens up, I'm going to enroll in baton, taser, firearms, and vehicular patrol classes. And I will also be keeping my eyes open for if and when the Red Cross ever offers free first aid training in my community so I can get that certification. The world's becoming a more hostile place. The people that we once trusted to protect us aren't doing it anymore. It's time for somebody to fill the gap. And like I said, when I first talked about my job and how I love doing it, I feel like I was called to do this. You will this make my job riskier? I don't care. And truth be told, statistically speaking, yes, electricians and garbage men, they die on the job far more than security personnel or even law enforcement personnel. But if the coin lands on heads, I'm not scared of it. I made my peace with God. I know where I'm going to go. I'm not afraid. All right. Before I move along, I think I might have already covered this in a previous video. If I did, well, I'm going to go through it again because you can't overemphasize safety. If riots and civil unrest come to your town, buy a gun, protect you and yours. Be your own first responder. The police aren't going to protect you. Depending on the size of your community and the manpower of local law enforcement, they'll be protecting government buildings. And again, depending on the size of the community and the manpower available to them, the more upscale neighborhoods, because the rich people who live in those houses pay more in property taxes, so they're going to get their money's worth. Same thing with the National Guard. They're not going to protect you. They're just going to protect government buildings, and they're going to protect the wealthy in their homes. Even if Donald Trump makes good on his threat to send in the federal troops, they're not going to protect you. They're just going to protect government buildings and Mr. Trump's wealthy friends and supporters. Get a gun. Protect yourself. Be your own first responder. If you have anyone in your immediate circle who you can trust to squad up with, do so. If you cannot get a firearm, or if you don't believe in firearms, then at least make sure your house has multiple locks. Make sure your windows are barred. Do not let anyone you do not know in your house. Don't even answer the door for anyone you do not know. And make sure you have a good escape plan. A bug out bag full of at least 2 days worth of supplies, 3 escape routes, and someone you know and trust in the next town over. Be your own first responder. Stay safe. Because you're on your own. All right, well, this is Charles Bird. This was Rant-Om Thoughts. Mahalo. I'll try to record an episode this Friday after I do my virtual block party. My 43rd birthday is this Saturday. One way you can celebrate it is by celebrating your freedom with No Mask Day. Just widespread civil disobedience against having to wear that damned face diaper. All right. Reopen America, vote gold, all lives matter, cancel culture, think while it's still legal. See you next time.